What is awakening, right? We always say people wake up. What does it mean to awaken? Is it to awaken to some mystical world? Is it to awaken to the awareness of God? No. Although it has been closed in that mystical language, the true awakening has to do with becoming aware of your own responses, reactions, behaviors, and having the awareness of our ego, right? In the spiritual community, we always say, you have to kill the ego or die to the self. But how do you do that? How do you do that? Even you wanting to kill the ego is ego. It's like a dog chasing its own tail. What brings self-awareness? I can't quite rightly point to it. It just happened to me one day. Well, I have to credit the mirror effect of my twin triggering me to such an extent where suddenly the trigger placed my shadow outside of myself and I could see myself clearly. And oh my, did I not like what I seen. So awareness. The majority of people in the world, on Facebook, on social media, are not aware. Every day we are interacting and engaging with other people's egos. Right? How do we become aware of our soul? How do we even know we have a soul? Right? The soul is that quiet observer that is neutral, that takes no sides, that does not get lost in the game, in the playing. And it is a very quiet, very still, very subtle voice that occasionally rises from deep within. But most of the time, we are just too noisy, too occupied, too distracted, too fast-paced, too quick in our mind to hear it, to feel it. Not so much hear it, but to feel it, to feel it. And that's the true awakening. It's not spending all your time researching and studying religious texts. That's more ego activity. The soul is found in meditation, in quietness. When you go out in nature, like I do every morning. Right now I'm talking, but I have a lot of quiet internal dialogue, a lot of feeling that connects me to my soul. And then I muse about it. So awakening is not to any history, to any spirituality, to any religion. It's awakening to the awareness of your own soul. And you need to practice a lot more quietness to find that. You will not find it scrolling on Facebook. You will not find it watching Netflix. And I'm not saying you can't do those things. But if you do those things all the time, you will not find your soul. You will not hear the voice of your soul. Your soul is neutral. It's what we call divinity. It's what we call God. It's what we call love. Because the soul is unconditional. The soul does not look at opinions. The soul does not look at morality even. It just looks from the clear eye of love. Right? And love cannot have an opinion. Love cannot have a divisive point of view. Love may have a point of view, but it will not fight for that point of view. It will always prioritize love, unconditional love. And in that unconditional love, we have to deny our ego, which derives its identity and strength from the individuated preferences and opinions. And it needs those opinions to be validated. And that is where the fight comes from, right? You have to be aware that you are in your ego when you are in fight mode, right? Love does not fight. Love defers to peace. Love defers to gentleness. Love defers to building the other up. How can I build up my opponent? How can I elevate my opponent? That's what the soul does. It always looks for the divine quality that is present in every human being, believe it or not. But it's like a hidden treasure that very rarely gets discovered and even more rarely is operated from, right? So, what do we do with all these egos? What do we do with all this egoic self-importance? It's really, ego has really become strong because the soul in its infancy and the self in its infancy was not encouraged through love. And love is not just, oh, I love you, but then I diminish the value of your opinion. Like that happens a lot to us in childhood, right? Our parents are overbearing in their egoic authority and wisdom, and they squash excuse me, they squash this little seedling that needs love. And because that seedling gets squashed, the ego grows from that. I would call it a violation. It's a violation of soul, you see. So violation and violence starts early on in our life. It doesn't just happen through gun power. Violation of soul is the seed to all violence that will be perpetrated by the ego that grew in the absence of love. This human experience is so difficult, and I am not faulting any of our parents. They didn't know. The awareness just wasn't there. But what I'm saying is, with everything that's happening and the stirred up egos out there, the problem lies much deeper than the surface issues of gun violence and free speech. Like I said, seeds were planted in our childhood. And then the ego took over. And now all we have is inflated egos that fight for their rights, their opinions, and their way.